Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. And could you just tell me a little bit about your background and introduce yourself to our readers?
Yeah, sure. So, I grew up in New England, and
Mhm.
then when I graduated from college, I moved to Moab right away because I love rock climbing. I taught seventh grade special ed for a year, and then I started Grand Area Mentoring,
Mhm.
and I've been doing that for this is year 20. So I've been
Oh,
running that for 20 years,
congratulations.
and all along the way, I've been rock climbing philosophy and psychology is kind of some of my chief interests. And so I finally realized like, oh, I could put these together with climbing.
Mm.
And that's kind of where the idea for the climbing spirit decking guidebook was born. Finally, like this thing fell into my lap. And I thought, oh, wow, like this is what I've really been waiting to write.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's such a good fit. I'm imagining then that you may have had the idea for this quite a while ago.
Well, yes, I
Yeah.
had the idea probably 2 years ago,
Mhm.
roughly. And since then, I've been just chipping away at writing this book. As I would have experiences with my friends and out there in the desert and across the world, these experiences would come up, and I'd be like, oh, that's a perfect thing for the book, and it would be wonderful to write about that. So it all felt very real to me, and when I was writing about it,
Mhm.
because I was not on a deadline. So it's been 2 years I've been working on it. Of course, I also had to find an artist
Yeah.
to work with. I actually had several people submit art. Piggy Flavin was happily one of those people, and so I've been working with her since then. And she has now created 52 unique pieces of art for this climbing spirit deck.
Wow. Could you just describe what her art looks like?
Yeah, well, it's colorful, and they're set in beautiful locations. The style ranges across the 52 cards, so it's not like you're seeing the same thing over and over
Hmm.
again. It really does vary, even though there is some consistency. The deck that we have right now, 52 cards, this is draft one, and we hope to refine some of the art and the language in the guidebook over the coming months before we go to the first print run.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we have a Kickstarter page operating right now, and we're trying to raise $21,000, which will help us fund the first print run. And that will allow us to order the decks from a professional printer, pay for the shipping and tariffs and all the logistics. It really has been an incredible amount of work. It's funny,
Hmm.
the guidebook it took a lot of time and a lot of heart to write the guidebook. I loved it. And now the real work comes with actually bringing this thing to the world.
Mhm.
And this goal of $21,000 was not chosen arbitrarily. This is what we need in order to place the order, and what we expect is that we'll be able to fulfill the reward commitments of the Kickstarter campaign,
Mhm.
and then hopefully have some inventory left over that we can sell to
Mhm.
retailers, like right here in town. And you know, I also have a vision that, maybe it will sell beyond Moab. I've already had people from across the world contributing to the Kickstarter campaign. Just yesterday, we had a French outlet, posts about our project in French. And so, it's exciting. I think this will have legs beyond Moab. Kim Kranz has this series of decks and
Mm.
books. My favorite one is the Wild Unknown
Mhm.
Archetypes deck and guidebook. And it's so accessible because, unlike tarot, it actually looks at metaphors that are really common, like
Mhm.
the mountain and the mentor, and just things that we could find in our own lives. And that was one of the springboards to this project. The metaphors from myth and legend are of course, vivid and beautiful, and they resonate with us. But some of the metaphors of rock climbing. I mean, we like I've said to many others, like we all know what a summit means, even if we're not standing on top of it, and we all know what it means to fall because we all have fallen.
I gotta go back to something that you said a little bit earlier, which was, just that over the past few years, as this has been sort of stewing, there have been incidents that have happened and you have said like, oh, that's perfect. Could you tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about one of those that sticks out?
Yeah, sure. Well, one that definitely sticks out to me because right when I got home, I walked in the door and sat down and wrote the card. I had been climbing in Indian Creek and I got on a route that I'd never done before, and the start is very tricky and committing. And I was trying to get off the ground without having any reliable protection in the crack yet. And I was in a position where if I fell, like I could have really gotten injured. And so I wavered, in this decision point of like, should I continue on and press on and maybe pull this off, or should I go down? Should I down climb? And I eventually decided to down climb. I got some different gear from my rack on the ground, and I went back up, and I was able to climb the route successfully. But when I got home, I wrote the down climb, and the down climb explores the courage and the experience that it takes to know when to reverse course. And so it applies not just obviously to climbing, but to many, many facets of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something I hope to do is to bring this deck out to crags
Mhm.
and out into the world, and have people just get their hands on it to enjoy the art and the oracle, and maybe support the project on Kickstarter. I just love the project, and I
Yeah.
love climbing. I have a very uncomplicated relationship with climbing. I just love it. And so I can go out there and I can be my authentic self and just show people this deck.
Hmm.
And if it resonates with them, if they want to support the project, wonderful. If they don't, that's okay.
Hmm.
You know,
That's so awesome. Well, I mean, that's an excellent segue into readers who are curious about this project and want to interact with it. Like, where would they go next?
Yeah, so I mean, they can find our Kickstarter page if they just search Skybound Traveler and Kickstarter. That'll bring them there.
Hmm.
We also have a web page that could point them there,
Hmm.
and that's the skyboundtraveler.com. The Kickstarter campaign
Yeah.
runs until April 4th. So Kickstarter, by the way, if you didn't
Hmm.
know, is all or nothing. We
Ah,
either raise the $21,000 or all the money that people have pledged goes back.
and you said
Yeah.
you're going to be out roaming crags telling people about this, but are you thinking about having like another first person event again that people could come and hang out with you?
Well, I do plan to also hang out at the climbing gym
Cool.
and
Hmm.
do free readings there at the
That's
gym.
so
So
fun. I love that.
yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate it.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much, Maggie, for doing this with
Oh,
me.
it's such a pleasure.